Well, welcome back for another fantastic episode of the Nonprofit Show. I have the privilege today. I'm Wendy Adams, one of the co-hosts of the show, and I have the privilege of sharing the stage with a soulful, yes, guest today, Robin Witczak from Soles4Souls, and an illustrious co-host, Tony Bell. We won't tell you what he actually said for us to remember his last name. That's okay. But yes, we're going to have some fun today and we're going to leave inspired. So let's get ready to jump in for that as we kick it off. Yeah. So absolutely. So Robin's going to share a little bit about her and her why, and then we'll jump into the organization and what we can learn from them, especially in that area of volunteerism and corporate engagement. So exciting time for all of us, right? That being said, let's jump into the where we are as far as Tony and I and the opportunity that we have as an illustrious co-host panel. So you've seen some of us and been able to meet some of us: Julia C. Patrick, Mitch Stein, Miko Marquette Whitlock, of course myself. Tony Bell is on today, Sherry Kwam Taylor, and Meredith Tarian. I think at this point you've had the opportunity to spend some time with each of us, and that will continue to happen. So excited to be a part of, and it is a blessing as well. For All sure. Right. Well, there would not be any of what we're doing if it wasn't for. So Tony, tell us.
Yeah, so we are so grateful for these presenting sponsors. And one of the things I love to say about these sponsors is not only are we grateful for their support of the Nonprofit Show, but we're really grateful for their support of professional development in the nonprofit space. So professional development, professional learning is important in any career. Certainly it's important in fundraising and philanthropy. And we really celebrate these sponsors for helping us do that every day here on the Nonprofit Show. So thank you to Bloomerang, the American Nonprofit Academy, the Nonprofit Show, Nonprofit Thought Leader, the Fundraising Academy at National University, 180 Management Group, your part-time controller, the Nonprofit Accounting Specialist, Staffing Boutique, JMT Consulting, and Nonprofit Tech Talk. So much gratitude to all of them for sponsoring the Nonprofit Show.
And some of them have been around since the beginning. So
Absolutely.
that says a lot. Thank you for that. Again, we know that we're all a part of that illustrious panel. So we want to hear today from Robin Witczak from Soles4Souls. Why? Who? What? Tell us, Robin.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. As Wendy said, I'm Robin Witczak. I'm the VP of Business Development and Strategic Partnerships at Soles4Souls. I've been here about 2 years. My why, since I graduated college and went to the Peace Corps, has always been about making a difference. So before joining Soles4Souls, I spent almost 9 years at the National Retail Federation Foundation, where I got to work with different retailers, really promoting talent acquisition and encouraging students to find their passion in the retail industry. And when this opportunity came at Soles4Souls, I was able to take that drive to make a difference in my relationships with the retailers to a new level, and continue to work with them on relationship building, partnerships, employee engagement, all the exciting things we're going to talk about today. So for me, my why has always been about making a difference, leaving the world a better place. So excited to share more about what we do at Soles4Souls with you all.
Wow. I think we can all just get excited about just the little snippets that you've given us and that experience that you've had, especially when we start talking about volunteerism and how that really pulls us all together. When we think about our sector, that really is us at our core, right? We talk about time, talent, and then the treasure. So excited to see how you're gonna step that out for us and really flesh out what that means and what that looks like. So let's keep rolling. There we go. So the mission of Soles4Souls, we start in that space of why, what, how, what does that mean? And so you've given us a snippet about you. How does that translate into the work that you are doing and your team is doing at Soles4Souls?
Yeah, so at Soles for Souls, we take unwanted shoes, clothes, and accessories, and we turn them into opportunity by keeping them from going to waste and really putting them
Mm,
to good use. And we do that through providing relief, creating jobs, and really empowering people to break the cycle of poverty. We have three main programs that we work on, and you'll see a trend here with our fours. So we have for the number four relief, for opportunity, and for every kid. And with For Relief, we're helping to get new shoes. It's always new shoes and clothes on the feet of people in crisis. That could be after a disaster, man-made or natural, or it could just be
mm,
people who are facing economic hardship, and really freeing up financial resources for them to put towards other things. And then with For Opportunity, we're selling and distributing shoes through our international partners to help people start new businesses around the world. And then our newest program is called For Every Kid, and it really hits home for so many people because it's providing new athletic shoes to kids who are experiencing homelessness across the US. And that's upwards of 1 million who are identified every year. So it's a big project and program that we're really leaning into to do annually. And then cutting across all of these programs really is our For the Planet mission. And so trying to think about
mm.
how can we help people extend the life of what they have and not to prematurely discard what really has opportunity for a longer life. In a nutshell, that's what we do.
And those are all really exciting, Robin. But the environmental impact. So we when we'll talk about shoot drives and ways for employees to become engaged in Soles for Souls. And that just seems so obvious, but folks don't really recognize until you speak to it so clearly the environmental impact that Soles for Souls has with with its mission and the way in which you're supporting communities and across the globe.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's always opportunity. And we talk a lot about kids' shoes and how quickly
Mhm.
kids grow out of them. And people ask, like, do you just take sneakers? No, it's really everything. Kids, men's, women's, flip-flops, to the sneakers. Sneakers are always most in demand because it's, something that translates across. But there's always, someone wanting something different, and that's exciting. We were able to put, heels in prom closets. And so it's just there's a lot of our outreach team work is finding the right place for the product to make sure that it's going somewhere that really is most needed.
Well, and that's what I'm hearing is the impact. Tony, you said that word. Robin, you said that it's where the impact's going to be most made. And then we see this universality of shoes, right?
Yeah.
I think I've had the opportunity to travel overseas, and that's one of the things you notice right, off that is either there aren't enough, some are sharing things that, but we all can come around the fact of, gosh, how important that is. A lot of walking and how that's their transportation. So I love the fact that it really brings us together and brings us to that place of true impact, which I know we're going to continue to talk about how that is relating within our organizations. Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Absolutely. So as we continue on,
Yeah, I think
so
we're gonna
yeah,
talk pretty soon now about some of the programming that takes place at Soles for Souls and how that programming supports employee retention and just overall employee morale. So I pulled some data prior to today's conversation just to kind of support why we would even want to talk about this in the first place. So if you don't mind, I'm going to read directly from my notes so that I don't mess up any of the information. But just to share a survey of 5,000 full-time workers done by Edge Research in 2023, so pretty recent compared to most research that we see, found that job satisfaction was 25% higher for employees that volunteer through work-sponsored programs. So
wow.
25% is not a number to ignore. When we
No.
talk about how difficult it is to find qualified talent. So this was, I thought was really good data to support today's conversation and the great opportunities that exist at Soles for Souls. The other piece of information that I found was that according to a recent Deloitte report, 89% of employees believe that companies who sponsor volunteer activities offer a better overall working environment. So if I'm a recruiter, right, if I'm in HR and I'm responsible for recruiting talent, I'm more likely to get folks to want to work in our organization when they see that we offer this type of employee benefit. So I thought that those were both of those were really good examples in terms of data to support this kind of conversation, and again to kind of underline the great opportunity that is created at Soles4Souls for this sort of employee engagement.
Tony, I think one of the things my team is specifically responsible for building relationships and partnerships. And I talk a lot with different companies and say, I don't want this to be a transaction. I want this to truly be a partnership. So yes, we would love your financial donations or your product donations, but let me tell you about how you can get your team involved. And that's where they really light up and say like, oh, I had no idea that not only could they do a shoe drive where they might have remote staff and everyone can participate in that. There's not they don't have to make a financial donation. It's free to ship in with our partnership with Zappos. We also have regional donation centers, one outside of LA, one in Nashville where we're based, and one in Colorado, in Denver, where people can actually go in and help sort the shoes and load the trucks. And we're a small organization. We rely on the volunteers to do that. And coming together as a team, getting to meet people that they maybe haven't worked with before, there's a bonding that's there. But the company is also saying, we care about things that you're passionate about. We want to support what you're doing. And we have, like, for example, we have a partnership with Tapestry. They're one of our donors. And they do an event with us called For Every Teacher, and with our coach teams. And it's through their Coach Cares program. And I was in Chicago with them. And before we kicked off, they all went around and talked about their purpose. Like and the commonality there was people. So whether it was their team, their leadership, the people they were serving that day, they were cheering for these teachers to come in. It was a surprise. They got to shop. And it was like they were lifting them up and making them feel so appreciated. And they kept saying how it was so important that the company makes them feel like it's a place where they belong. And they want that to be what the customers experience when they walk through the door. And so I think when you have a company that then is saying, like, let's go volunteer, let's make a difference together, let's give you the time off, let's match the hours that you're doing and give you funding. Let's give a grant to the organization that you're doing. Hey, your store can have a pot of money to give to whomever you want. There's so much there from an empowerment perspective, from a we believe in you, we support you, and our company wants to make a difference, that it goes beyond just, that transaction of we're making a donation, we're writing a check. And they can do things remotely, they can do things in person. There's just so much that we can do together. And when you think about shoes, there's the shoe drive component, and I know we'll talk about the details of that. But there's also events that we do around the country where we're fitting kids for these new shoes. And so we need people to come in because it's like the kids are going to the store. We find out their shoe size. They get walked to a fitter who sits with them. We have someone else running to bring different kinds of shoes to make sure they fit their different styles and sizes and brands. And people love that because you can see those kids light up because it might be their first new pair of shoes. It might, like, we've had them running around the gym saying, like, look how fast I am in my new shoes. Like, it's just palpable, and people want to continue to do that volunteering and get engaged. And it could be not where their company's located, but they're there remote. And so we like to extend that so that we make sure that as many people as possible can engage in the amazing work that we're doing.
For sure. Thank you so much for that, Robin. I made some notes based on some of what you were saying, and you mentioned Zappos in particular, and what a great partnership that is. And then when we think about some of the businesses and corporations that are involved in terms of employee engagement with Soles4Souls, and you shared even some of what those corporate norms or what the corporate culture might need to look like in order for that organization to have a successful experience, whether it be with Soles4Souls or any organization that they might want to engage in. But when you think of your experience and those success stories at Soles4Souls with corporations and their engagement, what are some of the things within that corporate culture or those corporate norms for those successful organizations have you seen? That others
Great question, Tony. Great question.
It's fantastic. I think helping associates understand the why as well. So like I think about our DSW partnership, they collect in all their stores for us what people can drop off. They get their VIP reward points. But we, last year, maybe a year and a half ago, worked with them to embed Soles4Souls in the employee onboarding process. So they're talking about it from the get-go, because we know those associates are the ones who move the needle from the register roundup to encouraging people to donate their shoes. And really, even with, we're doing a virtual race right now with fundraising, they have a super team and have like people competing and raising money for a For Every Kid program. They're the ones who are excited because they know why their company believes in this. We're tied to their ESG goals, and we're really, looking at how can we do this together? What does that look like? And celebrating those employees who are doing amazing work. They get to travel with us and see where the shoes are making a difference in Honduras and Guatemala. It's not just their execs that go. We have their employees based on, their engagement who get to travel too. So it's that full circle where the company is really thinking about, you're putting in the effort and you're going to see the results. Oh, and we need you to be an ambassador because you're so passionate. So what else can you do in this space? I think that makes a big difference. Explaining the why that you're asking a customer to do something so that they can really live it every day is great. And we're trying to think through ways to reward and thank them, because they are the ones that are moving the needle for us.
Right. For sure.
Robin, you hit it. You hit that so strong on the why, right? We started there, and it's the thread that keeps us connected, right? That mission, that why, and personal passion of mine is a true partnership, right?
Yes.
Soles4Souls is walking out what they're sharing with their corporate partner, but it is a partnership. Now, whether it's DSW or Zappos, they have something that they're giving back. It comes full circle, and it's not this one-way street. That really gets me pumped.
And it doesn't have to be the big companies we're talking about. We have amazing mom and pop shops. We have, individuals who want to give. We, as you think about in the faith-based organizations and Rotary clubs and civic, or high school students that want to do it as part of a volunteering project, or it's good for their resume. Like really anyone can lean in, especially as you think about the shoe drive piece. But it's a great opportunity to drive some foot traffic to the smaller stores and for them to see that we care about sustainability. We don't want to just be selling shoes. We want to help you extend, the use of what you have. There's a lot there that really anyone can get involved, and we love that part of it.
And so cross-generational, right?
Yes.
You have those who want that have the hands-on, and not that we don't all care about the planet, but we understand, there's that, oh gosh, I can make a difference. This is something that I can do. And that, oh gosh, it just brings everyone in. So inclusive. I love that.
And Wendy, I love that you mentioned the cross-generational, because even the folks being served by Soles4Souls is cross-generational.
Oh, absolutely.
Robin, based on what you were saying. So again, when we think about shoe drives, it's so natural to think about, back to school shoe drives and youth that are benefiting, and the great example that you shared about, look how fast I'm running around the gym, and the empowerment that is created through a new pair of sneakers. But it's multi-generational and empowers and improves the self-esteem of people of all ages.
Absolutely.
It does. Which I think is a great segue, because we're talking about how it brings so many together, and there's so much crossover there. So then let's talk about that whole fact of how are we doing this with people being everywhere, teams being all over, right? So we're talking about how it brings us together. So speaking to that, Robin, I'm excited to hear how Soles4Souls is really helping that happen.
So one of the great things is, and you can do a shoe drive anywhere. I have a box on my front porch that my neighbors like to drop off, which is fantastic. But, when COVID hit, my team member, Megan, was working with Bank of America, and they have a committee that's really focused on sustainability in their team. And they decided, just to encourage individuals to do the shoe drive. And we have a digital donor form so that when someone ships in, they can print off their label from Zappos and ship in via UPS for free. And then they can fill out a form saying, like, I donated so many shoes. And what's important, and we really encourage our companies to do that, is because we come back to them and do impact reports. You had, this person was your highest, contributor to shoes, or overall as a company, you were able to donate X number of shoes. And that really makes a difference, where we can not only say like you donated this, but we have an impact calculator on our website that really kind of breaks down like what that means in terms of our programming or just things that make sense in the areas where we're working. And so it's one of those where everybody can participate. If you're not just, that's perfect, Wendy. If you're not just at a corporate headquarter, you could be, and it's global too. We have an office in the Netherlands. We have a partner facility in the UK.
Yeah.
We're looking at what that expansion is in Asia and have a partner in Singapore. So there's just a lot when we think about how to engage your workforce, whether it, just be collecting shoes, or we do like the virtual race that we're doing right now. It's a movement challenge, right? So how many miles can you do the month of May? Biking, walking, swimming, hiking, whatever that might be, whatever moves you. So we talk to HR leaders a lot too about like, look, this is a health and wellness as well. Like you can just encourage people to move, and maybe they raise money, maybe it's $20, maybe it's not anything, but you're supporting and maybe you're matching. So there's just a lot of different things that can be done with us other than just shoe drives, but that is a huge piece that, people really like to lean into.
Wow, man, you see the ripple effect, and you just see how far this can go. So that is extremely exciting. Yeah. So as we continue on, and as you share, where are you finding the most wins? Where are you seeing those challenges, or those spaces where we have some gaps? As we're hearing this and we're getting excited to come alongside, share and speak into that a little bit.
Absolutely. I think the retail industry, when there's impacts in the industry, we feel that as well. So as they're figuring out the inventory, tightening that up a little bit more, also looking into like secondhand markets and, reselling as well. So really it's working with them to see the value proposition of working with us and bringing in that employee engagement piece as a benefit to it, and being able to show them the impact of what they're doing. That really has been, wins for us. And then bringing along the sustainability piece, like we're working with Crocs, and they've got it where in all their stores, people can drop off their Crocs, whether they're busted, broken, done, which they're going to recycle then, or if they're still wearable, that they come to us, and really figuring out, how do we continue to do that, and where are the areas that we can add additional services that are beneficial for companies. You always have to be thinking about what's next, right? So that's a big piece of it. And I think getting people to see the work we do, I'll just give you one quick example because it's near and dear to my heart, and that's my mom. So when I joined Soles4Souls, she's like, I'm going to sign up for a 10,000 drive. Click. This is at the time, 74-year-old woman who decided she was going to collect 10,000 pairs of shoes in a small town in Galesburg, Illinois. And she did, and went on a trip to Guatemala and got to meet our partners there, and was on Facebook saying like, guys, we can't stop collecting. Like, I'm not done. Like, we have to keep going. She's since, that was in February. She's collected another 4,000. She's one of our top fundraisers on my team for the Race for Every Kid. She's talked to Rotary clubs, to PTOs, works with the team to get presentations, because she's not only been like collecting the shoes, but then she's seen the impact and talked to the people where it can make a difference. And that's where you have someone for life. Like, she's always going to want to support. And now it's not because of me, right? It is truly because of Soles4Souls. If I leave, she is still supporting this organization for the rest of her life. So I think those are the big wins we see, when people can see it in action and really be able to say, oh, that's the full circle moment. That is the impact that I'm making. They want to do more, and they want to, do as much as they can.
Man, Tony, what does that do for you, like personally? Hearing that type, yeah.
Well, you are right. It's, I mean, what an example of someone leaning in and really being able to like tap into all that there is to offer at Soles4Souls. In terms of, and what I heard in that story was that there are so many opportunities at Soles4Souls that you can tap into that are right for your community.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what? So I think that that's really important, that the accessibility and kind of the onboarding, if you will, the on-ramp to opportunities at Souls for Souls are such that allows for anyone in any market,
Yep.
in any city, any community, to lean in and support the great work. So that's kind of what I heard in that story. Not only like kudos to your mom and is she awesome, but it's a great story of how there's just many opportunities for folks to engage and make a difference, regardless of kind of where you are. So that's what I
And I
heard.
think that's and I love that, and that's why I put that over to you, because I've heard that through what you've shared already, and even the stats that you brought in. You didn't bring those in as just statistics, right? You were tying those into how it makes a difference in real people's lives. We've touched on, or we've said all about, bringing in and acquiring new people, how it would be exciting to be a part of an organization. We all know there's that retention piece, right? So that we're just not churning. This is one of those tools, those success tools that an organization, a company can have to say, and this is why you want to stay, because there's a place for you here for the work that we're doing and what we're doing holistically within our community. Just so exciting. Man, oh man. I really am pumped. I want to meet your mom because she sounds awesome. So like that, because she's showing her peers, hey, this can be done anywhere and by anyone.
She's visiting. I sent her out though, because she likes to pop in on my calls. And I was like, you can't pop in on this one. Sorry, Mom.
You would have been a good object lesson.
Well, Robin, I'll just look forward to that awesome social team that you have at Souls for Souls for kind of the testimonial video that your mom will be doing. So I'll be looking forward to seeing her on social and her 30-second testimonial for Souls for Souls.
Absolutely. Robin, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Wendy, because as we're talking about Souls for Souls, I wanted to point out to our folks that are listening through podcast or something, that if they want to engage, and Robin, I'm sorry, you may have been prepared to do this. I wanted to make sure we didn't miss the opportunity. But to learn more, you would want to go to www.SOLES4SOULS.org. So again, it's Souls for Souls, SOLES4SOULS.org.
Doing my job for me. Thank you, Tony.
Exactly. Tony doesn't let anything slip, and I love that. That is fantastic. That's exactly what we want, is for people to see themselves in all of those places. Robin, as we wrap up here, goodness, how can a half an hour go so fast? Anything that you want to leave us parting with as far as next steps if someone they're going to jump online, but is there something that's happening and going on at Soul to Souls you want us to know about?
You definitely check out, we're wrapping up our Race for Every Kid this month. We unfortunately unexpectedly lost our CFO, who passed away in March, and the race is in honor of him. So if you feel the need to give back, you can go on our website, and it's very obvious right there where you can go. You can also sign up for a shoe drive on the website. We make it really easy, walk you through all the steps with emails that come in for you. Or you can reach out directly to me. My email is just robinw@Soles4Souls, as Tony spelled it out, SOLES, the number 4, SOULS.org. So reach out if you have any questions, and we'd love to get you involved and find the best way to get you involved that will make you excited and passionate.
Fantastic. Well, Robin, what an afternoon. Like I said, such empowerment for each of us to go out and to get things done. And speaking of empowerment, Tony, how are we empowered to do what we're doing every day with Nonprofit Show?
We are empowered and fueled by a tremendous group of sponsors that include Bloomerang, the American Nonprofit Academy, the Nonprofit Show, Nonprofit Thought Leader, Fundraising Academy at National University, 180 Management Group, Your Part-Time Controller, The Nonprofit Accounting Specialist, Staffing Boutique, JMT Consulting, and Nonprofit Tech Talk.
Fantastic. And they do indeed empower us to do what we do. Every day we finish and close out the Nonprofit Show the same way. But as we are reminded, each day it means something a little bit different. And we're going to walk out soul-filled today, and recognizing that we need to stay well so that we can do well. Thanks so much. We look forward to you on the next episode.